Welcome back to the Genuine Ginger Experience. I'm so happy to have you. My name is Mackenzie Quintana, and I am your hostess. And I'm just glad that you're here as I continue sharing about my journey from going, of being just like surface level happy, just kind of living a life where I was going through the motions and every day kind of felt monotonous, to now where I just really love my life. And I think I made this disclaimer last time, but I hope that you don't take that to mean that I just am always happy and everything is perfect and my life is sunshine and rainbows, because that is definitely not true. I definitely still lose my patience with my kids. I definitely have kids that lose their patience with me. And I go through struggles and hardships and all the things just like you do. So, this joy-filled life does not mean that I am no longer mortal on this mortal life, experiencing mortal life things. So anyways, okay, yeah, last episode was a bit of a wild card for me, but I loved where it took us, and I hope that you did too. If you missed it, I would love for you to go back and listen to it. Each of these episodes, at least for now, this beginning part, they do kind of build on each other, because like I said, I'm kind of sharing my story, and in hopes to just help you with yours. Yours is probably going to look way different than mine, but sharing my story, to just help you, like I said, with yours. So some of you may have ended last episode thinking, but I don't actually really want an extraordinary life, or I don't need an extraordinary life. And I'm sorry, but you are not being honest with yourself. I say that with so much love and no judgment. But I know this because I said the same thing. I remember feeling the exact same way. In fact, I remember a specific time where I was talking to someone, and I was telling her this, and it was even once I had started learning about all this kind of stuff, and I was sharing it with her. And I remember just being like, yeah, but it's okay. Like, I don't need like extravagance and luxury and all the things. Like, I just want to live a comfortable life. Like, I just want to be able to, like, just feed my family and have a nice house and do fun things occasionally, go on trips every now and then, and, have maybe what is it called? I was going to say a moto. What's it called? A quad, a four-wheeler, what are those things called? Anyways, like outdoor thing. My mind just went blank. Anyways, and so I remember like telling her these things, and, but it's not true. And if you are saying that, if you are like still telling yourself, no, I don't really need like an extraordinary life, why is that word so hard today? Extraordinary life. If you are still like, no, it's okay, I just want to be comfortable. I want to tell you that you're telling yourself that because you don't fully believe yet that you can have an extraordinary life. Like that is possible for you, because you don't want to get your hopes up. So you're telling yourself you don't really need it. But again, that's a lie. And again, I say it with so much love, but it's not true. And here's how I know. Your soul did not come to this earth because it wanted to live a mediocre life. I believe that we were spirits before we came to this earth. Maybe you don't have that belief. Maybe you believe that you lived some other life before you came here. I don't know what you believe, but regardless, like, why would you have chosen to come here and live this life if it was just going to be this blah, mundane, mediocre thing? Like, you wouldn't have chosen that. Why would anyone choose to live a mundane life, to have a mundane experience? Like, you wouldn't do that. Like, you didn't do that. You chose to come to this life because you wanted to experience all that this life had to offer you. And that is more than just mediocrity. Okay? Just, again, like, just if I tell you something on this podcast that you're like, no, just don't shut it off immediately. Don't shut that idea out completely immediately. I want you to just practice, again, like I said, practice keeping an open mind. Practice just letting there be a possibility that there is some truth to what I am sharing. So, and others of you may have ended the last episode and thought like, okay, yeah, I do want an extraordinary life, a life filled with joy, but like, how do I get that? Do I have to get a mentor too? Like, do I have to do the same things that you did? And there's a lot of answers to that question, and I don't have them all because your life is very different than mine, and your path is going to be very different than mine, and that's okay, because it's perfectly tailored to you and the experience that you need. And also, P.S., you are exactly where you're meant to be right now, because if you weren't, you wouldn't be there. If you were supposed to be somewhere else, you would be in that place. So I don't want you getting into like dang it, I wish I would have known this sooner, or like any of that type of thoughts at any point in this podcast series, because like I said, your life is perfectly tailored to you. To the experiences that you've had have been exactly what you needed to get you where you are and to continue you moving forward. So yeah, I don't know what that's going to look like for you. I mean, I obviously found a lot of value in choosing a mentor. I still work with mentors. Right now it's kind of more business focused mentor, but I mean, that's if that's something that you're thinking like, yeah, you're thinking maybe of someone right now that you've seen on social media or an ad that you saw somewhere and kind of caught your eye, and you kind of just thought, well, maybe that would be something. Like, yeah, maybe that would be something. And I'll tell you this too, like, you don't have to be a business owner. You don't have to be an entrepreneur. You don't have to have huge, grand, amazing goals in order to like qualify for having a coach, a life coach or a therapist or a mentor or anything along those lines. Like, if simply like it's just someone to help you who is further along on your journey than you are, to help you kind of get where you want to be. So I definitely, I believe there's a lot of value in that. Am I saying that you have to have that? No, I'm not saying you have to have that. I will say that it all comes back to your thoughts. I feel like if I had to choose one main thing that is going to make or break your life, that sounds a little dramatic, but if I had to choose one thing, it would be the tool, the skill of being able to recognize your thoughts, and then all that comes with that, the recognizing them, the recognizing the impact that they have on you, and then choosing better ones, choosing ones that are serving you. I would say that, and also just learning how to tune into your own self, tune into the higher power within you, and the higher power, God, if that's you believe in God or the universe or whatever vocabulary you want to use there, but learning how to trust that higher person, that higher being, and listen to that voice, is, which I'm still learning, but those two things I feel like are fundamental. And okay, I guess I'm like, and this and gratitude. So I want to share a little story. So I homeschool my kids, my oldest two, my 9-year-old and 7-year-old. And we have these like little phrases, these little motivation cards, I guess. I don't even know what you'd call them. And each day, well, most days, I'm like, oh, we actually haven't done that for a few days, but usually every day we will pick a card or two. I'll have them pick one, or each of them will pick one. And they're just little phrases to kind of make some conversation and to kind of get our brains thinking in a more growth mindset, if you're familiar with that term of like, so it'll be phrases like my thoughts and feelings matter, or I can choose to ask for help, or just little simple things like that, for them to kind of practice having a better mindset. And the other day we picked a card that said, find joy. I will find joy in the little things. And my 7-year-old Savannah was like, what does that mean? Like, what do you mean, like little things? I'm like, yeah, like you can find joy in like anything in life. Like it doesn't have to be, a trip to Disneyland or something. Like you can find joy in just little simple things of the everyday. And she was like, so I can find joy in the kitchen table. We're sitting in our living room and the kitchen table's across from her. And so that's what she sees. So she's like, I can find joy in the kitchen table. And I'm like, yeah, like you can be so excited and grateful that you have a kitchen table where we can sit around, and eat dinner together as a family. And like, that is such an amazing thing that not a lot of people, like they're like a lot of people in the world don't have. And like, you can just be so excited and grateful for that. And she was like, oh, okay, so I can be grateful for like the toilet, just like, and I'm like, yeah, like, do you know how many people do not have like plumbing, like do not have a toilet in their home that they can just go to the bathroom whenever they need to? Like, yes, absolutely. You can find joy in that. And as I was thinking about that, before I was going to start this podcast, it was like, yeah, like you can, it's finding the joy, but the precursor to the joy is the gratitude. Like, and I feel like that has been a huge shift for me as well, is learning to be grateful and just living in gratitude. And I grew up, like I said, I grew up religious, and so gratitude was something that I was taught, from a very young age, that we need to be grateful. And it says in the scriptures to, I think it says in the scriptures to, I'm like trying to think of like the scriptural reference, give gratitude daily. I don't think it says that anywhere, but if you're religious, you've probably, or not even religious, you probably have heard, we have a whole, at least in the United States, we have a whole holiday dedicated specifically to expressing gratitude. And so I always like knew that was important, but it wasn't until I really started living my life in gratitude and really just starting to notice the huge shifts that come from living a life in gratitude. And like I said, it can be gratitude for the simplest, dumbest things. Like, where are you right now? Are you sitting on a chair? Well, like, awesome. Like, I am so happy that you have a chair right now that you can sit on, that is supporting you, that is, maybe it's not the most comfortable chair, but at least you're not sitting on the floor in dirt, like, or maybe you're driving in your car, like you have a car, maybe it's not the greatest car, maybe it is a super amazing car, I don't know, but like just finding, and like, yeah, we hear that all the time, like be grateful for everything, but like there's a difference, I feel like, between like being grateful and having gratitude, or maybe I'm not even choosing the right words, but it's like, instead of like an action of like stating like, oh yeah, I am grateful, it's more of like a sense of being, that you like truly do, you slow down enough in the moment to really let yourself feel the gratitude, really let yourself let that just like, oh my gosh, I was able to drink water that is like, water is so amazing. And my water was even like a good temperature, and I was able to just reach out to my water bottle and it was right there, and it made my throat feel cool and refreshed, and it made my body feel vibrant and alive. And like, I am just like, like, it's that type of gratitude that you really have to slow down in order to experience. But it's in that slowing down, and it's in that experiencing and really living in gratitude that really profound shifts start to happen. And so that was a little bit of tangent there, and we'll probably go there again, because the more and more I like I said, I learn about gratitude, the more and more I realize just what a profound and huge impact it has on our lives. But again, all of this goes back to your thoughts. Like, you have to choose to be grateful. You have to choose your thoughts instead of just, I feel like so many of us, and I promise we will move on from thoughts, but I just, like, it's the thoughts really are the baseline for everything else. And it's recognizing your thoughts. It's recognizing that just because you have a thought does not mean it's fact. And it's recognizing that the thoughts that you have are literally creating the life that you live. They're literally creating your reality. And I'm going to try to explain that. Like, there's science behind that. Like, there's literal science to like the thoughts and how like it affects the chemistry of your brain, which affects like so many other things. And like, it literally, like, there's literally science. Like, this is not just some woo woo. I don't know all the science. I mean, I've read it and I understand it, but I don't know it well enough to now share it with you without probably saying things that are not strictly factual. But just trust me on this. There is science. You can learn about it. You can look it up yourself if you really do want to know about the science behind it. But, and it was when I started realizing that I literally, like I said, I was creating my reality with my thoughts, that I started noticing. And here's what it sounds like. And I have to thank a friend that messaged me after one of my podcasts a couple of weeks ago, and she was sharing with me, like, she was expressing gratitude for my podcast, which was so sweet, and I so, like, just made me feel so good. And then she was like sharing with me just kind of like where she was in her life and like the struggles that she was having, and sharing with me, that she is right now in like the thick of young motherhood. And as she was sharing it with me, I was like, oh my gosh, like I think I had kind of forgotten, maybe as like a trauma, like a, what do they call that? Like coping mechanism. I had like blocked certain memories from my brain from like, just years past of when I mean, I feel like I still am in the thick of motherhood. Like I said, I have, my oldest is 9, my youngest is 3. But I feel like I have shifted so much from feeling like I'm stuck in motherhood, which I feel like is very much where this friend was sharing with me that she was. And it helped me remember where I was, and it helped me kind of remember some of the thoughts that I had. And maybe some of these thoughts feel familiar to you too, where you're thinking like, and maybe you're not like in the thick of young motherhood. Maybe it's, wherever you are in life, and you're thinking, this is a really hard season, or I'm struggling, or life is really tough. And maybe you even say these things out loud to friends or family members or coworkers or whatever. And you feel like it's all up to me. Like I have to do it all. If I don't do it, then it won't get done. Maybe you're thinking, my kids are so hard. They're going through such a hard stage. It's just really hard. My friend shared with me, like, I'm a human milk factory. And I was like, oh my gosh, yes, I remember like the constant where you just feel like your only purpose is to feed small humans, whether that be through your body or by making dinners or, whatever. Like, it's just constant. They need snacks and food all day long. And you're like, is that all I'm good for? And it's this energy and this thought that I think most of us don't even realize we're having, but it's this subconscious thought of I don't matter, that because I have to put everyone else before me. Like that is my only purpose right now, is to serve my kids and serve, like, take care of my family and my husband, and it just, you just feel so stuck. And and like, I want to validate you in that. And I want you to know that it's okay to feel that way. And it's okay even to say that sometimes. Like, absolutely, express yourself, vent if you need to. Like, definitely, there is, like, that is healthy to do. When it becomes unhealthy, though, is when we stay in that muck, that energy, and we let it turn into a downward spiral where it's just, one thought then leads to another that leads to another. And pretty soon you're just crying on your bathroom floor and you don't want to continue on with life because you just feel so stuck and you're just so tired and it's just so hard and your kids just need you all the time and you're just so done and you just need a break, and the break never comes and you're so tired and like all of the things. Again, I get it. I've been there. Absolutely 100% validate you there. However, I want you to recognize that those thoughts, if you're having those thoughts on repeat in your brain, they are not helping you. They are not, they are keeping you where you are at. If you want to have a different life, you have to choose different thoughts. You have to choose, consciously choose different thoughts than you have been up until this point of your life. Because the thoughts that you have chosen up until this point in your life have gotten you where you are. And and I'm not shaming you in any way. I'm because I know that you are remarkable and I know that you have done amazing things. But if you are feeling stuck, if you are feeling like your life is blah, if you're just surface level happy, it's because the thoughts that you have been having have gotten you there. And they're probably thoughts that you didn't even consciously choose. They're probably thoughts, most of our thoughts, our beliefs were generated by the age of 7, which means that like your highly immature brain from the ages of 0 to 7 created the reality for the rest of your life. And here's what I mean by that. This is a common example. And it's with money. And so maybe as a 5-year-old, you saw your parents arguing and you heard that they were talking about money and they were arguing and they were fighting. And so in your immature, illogical 5-year-old brain, you made the assumption, you connected the dots that they're fighting, they're talking about money, therefore money is bad. Money leads to fighting. Money is evil. Money is not good because they're fighting and it's about money. So I don't want money because I don't want to be fighting with people. That's what your immature, illogical 5-year-old brain thought. And so that thought about money has been running through your subconscious mind. Maybe it's not in your conscious mind. Maybe you don't actually have that thought out loud in your brain that you think money is evil, but it is happening subconsciously where you're like, I don't want money because money makes people mean. And so you really have to slow down and let yourself realize that you have these thoughts so that you can change them. So that's just one example, but there's probably literally hundreds of thousands of thoughts like this that are running rampant either in your conscious or your subconscious mind. And so you you have to slow down and you have to start practicing noticing your thoughts. And my mind just went completely blank. So I guess that's the end of today. Like I said, we will move on from thoughts, but it's just, they're just so, it's just so powerful. It's just so important for you to recognize that the thoughts that you're choosing, sorry, the thoughts that you aren't choosing, the thoughts that are just running on repeat on autopilot in your brain that have probably been going on since you were 7 years old or before, they're not true. Number one, necessarily, they're not necessarily true. And number two, they might not be helping you. And so they might not be helping you get where you want to get. And so you have to start noticing the thoughts and just pausing when you have a thought and asking yourself, is this true? And is this helping me? And if it's not, then you have to choose another thought. And I have things that I will teach you later on to help you with this, but it literally just starts with practicing. And I feel like there's something else that I'm supposed to share with you, and it's just not, it's like on the back of my tongue, and it's just needed to come out. Hold on. Okay, I'm going to finish with this thought. Your thoughts are the lens through which you view life. So if you constantly have the thought replaying in your brain, my life is hard, or my kids are hard, everything that you see, you're going to see through that lens, which means you're not going to be able to see when the good things happen to you, because you're only seeing that your life is hard, because that is the thought that keeps going through your brain. So when something good happens to you, you're not going to recognize it. You're not going to give it any credit, because you're only believing that your life is hard. So you don't believe that anything good can happen to you. Same thing with your kids. Like when they do something good, you're not going to be able to see it as clearly. Like you might, but you're still going to be seeing them through the lens of my kid is hard. And so like anything that they do, it's just going to be through that lens that they're hard, that they want to make your life miserable, that they don't understand, that, all the things. And so just be super, super conscious of your thoughts. Practice. Oh, that was the other thing. Be so compassionate on yourself. Like, if you are having these thoughts that my life is so hard, my kids are so hard, life is tough, I'm in a hard season, XYZ, whatever, like, that, like, welcome to 90% of the population, like you're normal. You don't need to like be beating yourself up over that. But do start, but also don't stay there, but also don't just be like, oh, well, those are my thoughts. Just start noticing them and start practicing new ones. And maybe that's where the next episode will take us, is to how then to shift these thoughts into, ooh, yeah, that's where our next episode is going to go. Shift them into better thoughts that can better serve you. So stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for being here again. If you want to connect with me even more, I am frequently sharing more of this type of stuff on my social media, specifically Instagram. I'm the.genuineginger. I was going to say .com. I also have a website that's thegenuineginger.com. But my Instagram handle is the.genuine.ginger. Okay, I think I said that enough times. And like, yeah, I'm in my stories. I a couple times last week, I like literally went through like my exact thought process for some things. So I'm sharing about this more and more there. So I would love for you to give me a follow there. And yeah, I'm excited. For next episode. So thanks for tuning in. I'd love also for you to leave me a review and share this if this has been valuable to you, so that I can help more women. And I love you, and I will talk to you soon.